welcome to our third interview for our second episode of Chatting with the Chamber, the Verona Area Chamber of Commerce interview program featuring local businesses. And this time we are with Rick Dearworth of Verona Wine Cellar.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Fantastic. People in the shop always make me happy.
Rick, why don't you tell me a little bit about your business and how the business came to Verona? I know you weren't the original owner, but how you
Well, let's go through a little bit of the back history, because the store's been here for quite a bit longer than most people would imagine. Since we're not down on the main drag, a lot of people ask me how long we've been here. And the original owner, John Brixey, came in, I believe, in 2004. Then Nick, my partner in the business, came in with another partner in 2008. They parted ways. Nick went for a while on his own. And I came into the business October 2010 after lots of years in the wine business, but from the other side of the fence, not as a retailer, as a supplier and wholesaler. I moved up out of Chicago, in 2008, and found the opportunity, made friends with Nick, and was looking for an opportunity to come into a smaller wine shop where we could hand sell some wine.
Yeah. Have you always been interested in wine?
I think so. My family, like most Midwest families, wasn't, I'm not from an ethnic background that my parents drank a lot of wine or did a lot of gourmet things. They were kind of more beer and hard liquor, and we were pretty much tater tots and beanie weenies with a lot of folks. So it's curious that I came about wine the way I did. It was just once I was of age to drink. When there was a wine option, I typically took it. So. It's not a recent situation.
Do you remember a personal kind of launching point for yourself where you suddenly became a wine guy?
I would say I went out on my honeymoon to Napa Valley in San Francisco, and actually it was supposed to be mostly San Francisco and Monterey. Happened to go up to wineries. Had a cousin of a great uncle decide that we should stop in and see them, and we went up into the hillsides to places where most tourists don't end up going. We ended up at this dude ranch where they opened up a bottle of wine for us. This was late 80s, and it was a Petit Syrah. It was the first time I had a wine like that, and from then on I was pretty much hooked.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the business end of wine. Is there kind of an ebb and flow? Is there a wine season?
I think people think of that. Certainly there's a high retail season, as there is with most folks. The holidays bring on more parties, and we do more business in October, November, December than we do most other times of the year. But the grapes don't really give you a chance for that. That's one of the very unique things about the wine business, is that grapes are infinitely renewable, and you just crank out another batch the way you might on a distilled product or on a beer, and brewing another batch. You can get more raw materials when you like. Grapes don't work that way. So now that we have more stuff from the southern hemisphere, we have new wines coming in year-round, whereas that didn't used to be the case. The selections available when I first came in the wine business were I would say even less than half of what they are now. Now that I'm on the retail side, I deal with over 20 distributors in order to fill the store with the selections that we've got.
Well, and just listening to you talk here for just a few minutes, it seems as if wine is something you have to continually educate yourself about. Is that true?
I do, in order to be of a service to everyone that comes into the shop. I don't think it's a prerequisite. Really, the only thing anyone coming to the shop needs to know is a little bit about something they've liked before, or something they didn't like, because then I'll work from there. Very honestly, the best thing I can do with somebody, if they have a little bit of time, is have them have a sample of wine with me. It's a diagnostic tool, so that way, when they say fruity, I know what they mean. When they say dry, I know what they mean. When they say bold, I know what they mean, because these are terms that are really, really subjective. So it's almost... It's more of an art thing. There's no hard fast rules.
Sure. And speaking of working with customers, if there was one bit of information you could impart to the people of Verona about wine coming in, what would that be? You know, if we have two things, that's fine too.
I like to say nobody's wrong here. If you like it, you are the absolute expert and connoisseur of your own taste, and no one can say anything about that. So the first thing with a wine ever for me is I don't like to talk about it. I like the wine to talk. So if you like it, it's good. If you don't, it's not good, no matter what anyone else says. And a second thing would be, and anyone who's been to one of the tastings here will see, it doesn't have to be overly snobified. We're definitely more wine geeks here, beverage geeks. Nick knows his stuff. I try and keep learning my stuff. But we go ahead and do pairings with bugles and pork rinds and typical things that people eat on a regular basis. I think, you know, the culture in general is starting to decide that wine isn't just a celebration beverage. It's starting to be almost every evening kind of routine, part of the evening's routine to have a glass of wine, have your dinner, and maybe even have another glass of wine before turning in for the night.
You kind of alluded to the snobby image of wine. And as I'm looking through your selection here, I see price ranges all over the place. Can you get a good wine inexpensively?
If I couldn't, I wouldn't have gotten in the business. I didn't come from means, and really it was my drive and desire to find better wines at a reasonable price for myself that led me into the business in the first place.
So you don't have to go broke buying wine and become someone who enjoys wine?
I would hope not. I would hope not. I would much rather see somebody on a regular basis getting a regular bottle of wine at a reasonable price, one that they'd be surprised that they come in a wine shop and see that they got a bottle of wine for maybe even less than they see on the grocery store shelves and have it still be good.
So the key is just to enjoy what you're drinking?
I would hope so. If you don't drink it.
So, now, dealing with customers in wine, you must have some pretty unusual experiences. What are some of the more unusual questions you get asked? Or is there an experience you had that kind of stands out in your mind as this is an odd customer service, customer wine drinking experience?
Not terrifically. We do definitely have characters around Verona. You know, there are some individuals who see life a little bit differently. We did have a younger gentleman come in and look at a bottle of wine that happened to be in a blue bottle from Germany, and he asked if that was the color of the wine. Was the wine is that blue wine? And we got to explain to him, no, that was just the color of the glass, and we had an empty bottle so we could show him it was. That was a little bit of a challenge, but Nick and myself feel anyone who comes in the door, no matter what their thoughts or knowledge are, there's no place that there's a question that's not appropriate, that we're not ready to field the answer to.
What's the most frequently asked question that you get about wine?
Very often it's Rick, what do you like best? Do you have a favorite wine? And the answer is, well, first of all, if I did, I probably wouldn't be in the dilemma of having to have a wine shop, which gives me a great deal of security that I have so many options. But it's not about me. Everyone's taste is so different. I tell people, you wouldn't ask me what color you should paint your bedroom, and you didn't ask me what you should have for dinner. So don't worry about what I like. It's about what you like. Around the store, the selections on the shelves are selections I've made, but they have to do within categories, and some of those categories aren't necessarily categories that I enjoy the wine from, but I've made selections in order to try and find the best for that category.
Okay. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about your store as we wrap up here? I know especially you do wine tastings. Tell us a little bit about the wine tastings.
Well, every Friday night, 4 to 7 o'clock, we will do typically 4 wines. The selections are made in order to find new selections for the store, have reasonable price points, and try and make sure that at least one of those wines would be pleasant to anyone who would show up. We don't go with distributors typically on that, so it's not a matter of having a demo person come out that is either just promoting that particular winery or anything like that. We try and make the selections. Occasionally we'll have a representative from the distributor will come and pour, but that's kind of on the rare side. The gathering started to really be a gathering. There's quite a few people who attend regularly and have found new favorite wines from that situation.
And the wine tastings are open to the public?
Absolutely.
Anybody can come?
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
And your store is located, what's the address here?
Well, it's 1015 North Edge Trail, which is a little confusing because we're a wraparound building. We face directly out parallel with cross country, and I would say we're in the northeast corner of Verona. The largest intersection close to us would be cross country now. So just a little bit past the high school and the stretch over here.
For those who know Verona geography, they're on the east side of the cross country road, to the west of the Renton Soccer Park. Other landmarks you may know are the Draft House is right next door, Emilio's Subs,
and we're not far from the library. So if you came on to the north from the library, the next really four-way stop intersection, if you look to your left, you can see our storefront.
Nick, and if a customer after seeing this wanted to contact you, what would be the best way to do that?
They could either find our website, which is just VeronaWineCellar.com, or they could give us a call. Our number is 845-9463, which spells wine, so 845-WINE. We're in most days starting at 11 and open till 9.
And just to clarify, that's Verona Wine Cellar, as in the cellar under your house. C-E-L-L-A-R, not cellar, S-E-L-L-E-R. So it's Verona Wine Cellar, like under your house. So, well, thank you very much, Rick, for being part of our second episode. Good luck, and we'll be in touch with you.
Fantastic. We hope to see people soon.
And thanks for watching our second episode of Chatting with the Chamber. I'm Carl Curtis, Executive Director of the Verona Area Chamber of Commerce. And in closing, I'd like to remind you that when you shop locally, you not only do well for yourself, but you do well for the entire community. We'll see you next episode.